John Barilaro is the Deputy Premier in New South Wales. He also has responsibility for water. We had a chance to have a chat to him a bit earlier in the day because he's a guy who believes that at times like this, we have to have that reset. Not just about the reset about manufacturing, but about agriculture, to make sure that we can do everything we can to make sure that we can feed ourselves. That when problems like what's happened with the coronavirus coming out of China, well, it doesn't end up screwing us over. We had a chat, as I say, a bit earlier in the day.
Yeah, look, the pictures are fantastic. You know, we've endured one of the toughest droughts, and we've now seen some rainfall throughout the state, and all corners have had some rain, and that just lifts the spirits and the hopes of our farmers. And to see the rivers run again is fantastic. It means we've got an opportunity to make sure our irrigators get the water they need to grow the food. And through this crisis, if that's ever not become more important than ever before, grow the food that this nation needs to survive on. And it's great to see, but it's still flawed. It's still the Murray Darling Basin plan, a flawed plan that sees water go to the environment at the expense of community and irrigators, and that's still something we've got to fix. And just because it's rained now, it doesn't mean that the Murray Darling Basin plan itself is right. And my job is to advocate on behalf of those irrigators that want to feed the nation, and that's what I'll keep doing.
So we've got a new water minister in Keith Pitt, a fellow National, as there was before, but a bloke who I think has a slightly different attitude to things. You're going to be having meetings with him, your state water minister, Melinda Pavey. Where is your hope about this crisis and about water levels where they are right now, about being able to get a better deal?
Seeing all this economic stimulus right across the economy, you know, supporting jobs through JobKeeper and JobSeeker and all the investment the government's doing. Well, we need a water stimulus, and that is to give farmers and irrigators in the southern basin an opportunity to get the water to put a crop in this year, because otherwise this would be a third year with no crop. And that's not good at the height of this crisis. We've got to put crops in so we can feed our nation. And unfortunately, ideology still trumps the policy platform, where the environment gets all the water it needs to survive, even though we've seen that being detrimental. We've seen areas flood. Water goes out to the lower lakes in South Australia and then out to the ocean. And then what do we do in Sydney? We bring it back in through the desal plant, desalinate it and put it back in the dam. It's just it's an odd policy position, but we've got to fix it. I'm confident we can fix it. And look, COVID has shown us we have to grow our own food. Thailand and Vietnam have shut its borders, not exporting rice anymore, and yet we can grow it. And we can grow sufficient amount of rice, yet we don't have the water, and that's what's got to change.
Yeah, it feels like we're at this now or never moment, because borders matter, nationhood matters, self-sufficiency matters, and in the same way we're having conversations about bringing manufacturing back, we need to make sure that farming and agriculture surges at a time like this, because our population is only ever going to grow. For whatever reason, we're all signed up, not me, but many people are signed up to Big Australia, the inevitability of an extra 5, 10, 20 million people as the years roll on. We have to be able to feed them, because what this has taught us, apart from anything else, is once you bet too much on everywhere else, when there is a problem anywhere else, there's an immediate problem here.
Through this crisis, it's our farmers that are putting food on the shelves at the supermarket, the flour that's running out the door, the rice, all our supplies. You know, it's our farmers, and so it's our farmers that will get us through the crisis. But when we get to the other side and when we talk about a recovery and an economic recovery, agriculture is ready to go. The primary industry sector is ready to go. Just add water and you watch it build, watch it recover, and watch it take us out of this depression that we're in into a recovery led by agriculture.
Last question. Iron ore, which I know is much more of a Western Australian thing, but still, mining in and of itself has been able to keep powering on at this time. You have that responsibility of mining in New South Wales. How important is that mining has been able to keep going at a time when basically all of the things that provide revenue to state and federal budgets have completely dried up?
Mining is so important. It's an essential sector. Not only does it run our power generators, which supply our coal power stations, still supply 80+% of our power in this state. Without those coal generators, mate, we'd also have a blackout during this crisis. So mining's important. They've put in place very good measures to protect their employees. I've been working with the sector and the industry. Keith Pitt has had already 2 meetings of all state resource ministers and mining ministers as the federal minister, and we've been championing on behalf of the sector. And that is proof you can have industry going and manage the risk of the virus, and that'll lend itself to opening other sectors in the future.
John Barilaro, Deputy Premier in New South Wales. Always good to have a chat to him, and always welcome on this program.